Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Rise and Recreate podcast, a place where we hear stories of reinvention, strength, resilience, and are inspired by the power we all have inside of us to recreate our lives whenever we feel the pull. I'm your host, Raechel Shannie, and today I am joined by Lisa, who traded in her successful career in fashion in the Netherlands to boldly recreate her life around slower rhythms, deeper presence, and intentional living in Thailand. And that bold move led her to creating Lan Sabai, a sanctuary rooted in wellness, design, and community. Lisa, it's such a pleasure to have you here today, and I'm so excited for us all to hear more about your journey. I'd love for you to just go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us about where you're at currently in life.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. First of all, I'm Lisa Van Roode. I'm Dutch and I live in Asia since like the last 20 years with my Dutch hubby and my adopted street dogs. They are really my kids. And right now I'm, as I call it, at the flip-flop lifestyle. So it's that ideal world that people think, of course, I'm working, but I really transform myself into like more rest and more peace, go slow, as we call it. So, that's where I'm now.
So it sounds like you have thoroughly embraced the life of go slow, but take us back to the time when you were more in the go, go, go mode, the fast mode, the fast fashion, the life. I'm sure it was like wild back then. Take us back to that time.
Yeah, you can say so. So I graduated from the Royal Academy in the Netherlands as a designer, being the least commercial of our year. And then even my teachers were surprised that I wanted to go into like fashion. And at that time, very quickly, I felt like I wanted to go into production. And then it led me eventually to become a buyer, product management, and to China. I was always a workaholic. I love to work like 80 hours a week, and I felt the stress of producing and shipping the goods for my customers on time from my office in China. And at that time, when I moved to Asia, it was really like enormous and immense. The transformation and the changes in China, later also in Bangladesh, everything changed so rapidly, and I loved it. But then I had some friends coming over and they said, Lisa, how much are you spending? And I was counting everything because my company was flourishing. And I thought, wow, I need to make, I need to evolve to prepare myself for a next phase whenever that comes, because now I'm still young, I'm earning, everything's great. And so when my dad passed away, we bought a plot of land here in Thailand, in Phuket, to to build our dream house, really. And we went up and down from the Asian countries to spend our weekends here and our holidays here.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that time, I also started to realize like what else is in life, right? We live and we walk in this treadmill like the fast-paced race in these big cities with 20 million people, but what is more in life? And so coming back and forward here really showed that to me. And
Nice.
so we decided to live here permanently and change. So not really retire yet. That was the plan. But I was like, I cannot sit still, right? If you always work like 80 hours a week and then do nothing, I couldn't comprehend that even. So, and I'm a busy bee, so I always invent things. So I invented a homeware brand, fair trade, natural, sustainable. But still, I had to travel back up and down because I opened my office in the Netherlands. And then I saw the pressure on society and really, I couldn't tell my staff, but I felt kind of pity for them to drop the kids off at school, then rush to work, then do all the work, rush back, buy groceries, cooking and whatever. I thought, wow, this is so exhausting. So one time I came back from traveling to the Netherlands always stress, always, the traffic jams there. And I was so happy that I wasn't in traffic jams. I wasn't squeezed in subways or waiting and waving for a taxi in Asia. But then in Europe, it was also kind of shocking to see how much the pressure on society was. And I came back and we were walking on a Sunday morning. I clearly remember we were walking along this tropical, lovely beach that's close by here. And I told my husband, look at our dogs, look us walking here bare feet. And I don't want everyone to come to live here, but if I can create a hub where people can relax and unwind, how great that would be. Fast forward, that became Lan Sabai. And it was finished just before COVID hit.
Mm. So what was going through your mind then? You feel like you figured it out, right? You're like, I'm trading in the fast life for the slow life. I'm going to create a way for other people to come experience this and just reconnect with the land. And then COVID hits. Share with us what was going through your mind
Right.
then.
So from still being a busy bee with my homeware brand and with delving into wellness, but I was not from this field, right? And frankly speaking, that's when I'm at my best. When I don't know anything about it, I'm like fighting in it. But what's to fight when there can't be any plane touching down to Phuket airport? Nobody's traveling. It was the whole world was in a standstill, right? So, and it really hit Phuket hard because we are a tourism country.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned, let's say, the hard way, really what wellness is all about. Because, like I say, I was a busy bee and I just kept on kind of that pace till I was forced to slow down. And
Mm-hmm.
then I said, okay, but what's next? What can I still do? Because I cannot sit still. So I created a women's group for the local women here. I didn't know anyone because I was always traveling or at the building site. And then I got a hint by one of my friends, and she said, the professor wants to go global with his company. And I clearly remember what she meant because that was about quantum frequency technology. So I was, wow, I need this. And so I started online training to do that. And I started to deep dive into like what's wellness and what's well-being, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
tried and started to transform myself. What is it to detox? What is it to live a more conscious lifestyle, toxic-free lifestyle? And so I evolved. I became a Qigong teacher. And so I was all about these energies and now studying even quantum biology. So it's this world of, yeah, a totally new world, right? It's like exploring my inner Eve. That was actually the first thing how I came about. I was like, I want to have my hair a bit longer. I want to wear dresses and pink and really explore my inner Eve. What would that look like? And so I had 3 years because COVID hit so hard here. I had 3 years to really evolve myself. Yeah. So it was a journey, but for the better because now I feel I'm ready, for a while already to help people on their journey.
So now that you have this stark comparison between who you are living this slow life and who you were when you were really in the hustle and bustle of the fashion world, can you just look back on that time and tap into some of the beliefs you had about yourself of why you thought you needed to work that hard and to work that many hours and really push yourself?
Yeah, well, of course, we are programmed by our past, right? And the first 7 years of our life was very, is really the imprint on our software. So I came from a family, my um, parents were also entrepreneurial, but they said you have to work hard
Mhm.
and nothing comes for free. And if like, you have to work hard to get somewhere, you must do the job to get rewarded. And so basically that was my idea. So to get somewhere you need to work hard,
Mhm.
and to make your life successful you need to earn a lot of money, yada yada yada, right? So
Mhm.
pretty much the basics, let's say, of what I see now. 90% of my women clients have basically the same. And so, but the number one thing I see in women is like they question themselves, am I good enough? And basically, that's also part of my story, like always rushing through life, not looking where I am and not really being grateful for what you already achieved.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So, compared to your beliefs now about the world, what would you tell somebody who's just starting out and they're in that mindset of, I need to work hard, I need to push myself to do all of these things to become who I'm supposed to be? What advice would you give them from who you are now?
Well, there's nothing bad with good work ethics, right?
Mm,
Because some people think they just lay on the couch being an influencer, traveling around, and then everything will be okay. So it's good to still have intentions. But it's also kind of surrendering, like the path of life will take you anyway, right? I was from the fashion field. I was the least commercial in the year. And look what I managed, right? People also said when I was like a kid and a student, oh, you will never make it to the top. Or what is the top, right? What do you
mm,
want to achieve? And so it's really based upon choices that you make. And even if you make on your path the wrong lane, right? You take the wrong exit, you can always go back. So you can kind of not really sit back and relax, but like settle in from the tummy, let's say, from the gut feeling, and follow the intuition because that's always right. But I and we tend to overrule that with our head, right?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I love, there's a common theme that has happened in all of these interviews, and it all kind of comes to the point where somebody's like, I just tapped in and followed what I could feel was leading me. And that tends to be the intuition. So I would love to hear how you would describe that feeling inside of you.
Yeah, so for me, it's a combination of using my quantum frequency technology, where I help people from struggling in terms of health to thriving. And so I look at that from pathology, microorganisms, but also emotions. So we are what we eat. And so if we have overgrown parasites in our gut, they make you do things, crave for food, become depressed, etc. And so there we can also see, that's why I take into and start at this point. Then we can also see all the emotions start in the stomach and in the belly region, right? And that's where our female intuition is, and that's where the female organs are. So from this starting point, um, through energy from the quantum scans and from my qigong, I really learned that everything's energy, and when you tune in to this to yourself on resonance, or catch the frequencies with the resonance, you can just tune in to your kind of inner peace, inner stillness, and really come to your gut feeling. So all the answers are in ourselves. Is 100% true. But to be able to listen to it, to listen to your body, that, yeah, takes like it's like training a muscle. It's like training a muscle. And especially like I always was kind of in the young energy, right? In the fast pace, moving forward, making negotiations and getting things fixed the hard way, the struggling way. That is how to say, then it's more difficult for people to really feel their feminine energy, to sink a little bit lower. And so it's still one of my pitfalls. And so that's why I learn and I know when women come here, they are pretty much the same, right? So stressed. I love to see when they come in, the stress faces. And after a week, when they go back, well, they don't even want to leave, but they just feel so much calmer and have this kind of rest and inner peace. And yeah, that all starts from listening to your body. And that phenomena, sorry that I make this a long reply, but that phenomena of really our body and listening to our body, I very often say to women, listen, you take care, everyone, like the hubby is okay, the kids are okay, everyone's okay. You look after your parents, friends, who not, right? You just They just knock your door and you're always there for them. But when do you really check in with yourself? Even your car, you treat better because every year you have like this mandatory book and you maybe use the car like 5 or 10 years or even 20 years. But we all expect our body to work for us in great condition for like 80 to 100 years. Without maintenance, that really won't work, right? So we have to take care ourselves first, listen to ourselves first, preserve the body and be grateful for the body. And then, then also the intuition starts to talk to you.
Thank you so much for that answer. There's quite a few things I heard in there that I'd love to dive into. So first, I'd like to just call out that the overall message is slow down to tune in, right? Like you're not going to be able to
Definitely.
hear the whispers of your body when your mind is going 500 miles per hour, kilometers per hour. So, you mentioned briefly about gut health and how the parasites can create different responses from you and how that can almost cloud your judgment of what your body is feeling. So, I guess a couple of things. How would somebody know if that is happening in them? And what is just something simple, a simple takeaway that people can take from this that they could do today?
Mm, okay. Well, first of all, most of my clients, right, in my practice, they can be worldwide. They really have health struggles. And many times the doctor said all the tests are fine, like the stool test or the blood test, and they come with all kind of checks, but they still don't feel well, right? So that's when I come in usually because in the Western medical chemical world, we can only do so much. And I'm not against it. I actually treat a lot of doctors, but my device scans until DNA level. So, yes, we can see. So, if you happen to feel like, let's say, health conditions into like very serious health conditions, like diagnosed and second opinion or backup, or want to go to the root cause and not just treat the symptoms. So many women, especially over 45, but it starts earlier and earlier, they feel they can't sleep well and they feel drained and fatigued during the day. So that's one signal. Then the husband usually says, it's your hormones, it's your hormones. And they feel they're totally off. That's the toxins. So we build up through our life a toxic load, let's say. And so that's another kind of basic thing. And then when you not sleep well, that's basically the basic and the root cause of many issues. When you don't sleep well, you feel exhausted when you wake up. You tend to start craving or grab this sugar, which was, you not regenerate the cells as good. You start craving, you're more irritable, you're getting off, and you feel like, I'm not myself anymore. But what to do, right? Where to start? So, of course, to tell them, so sit back and relax, everything's okay, that just won't work, right? And so, but you can figure out during the day, like, okay, do you feel fatigued? You feel like bloating or burpy or not going to the toilet or too much. And so try to tune in, when does this happen? And what you can do about it? Well, very basic things, right? Like simple things. Look at your processed food intake because you are what you eat and you are what you absorb, right? So even if you think you take great food or supplements, things still can get off, but start with the ultra processed food. That's a non-negotiable. Then next to that, look at your toxic load. So, all the lipsticks have like lead in it. So many like the plastic nails, etc. Um, Anywhere we have like a credit card, at least one in our brain with like forever chemicals and all these plastics. So look at your environment. What do you take in for your body and what you're environment, right? And then, of course, sleeping better is just a great start. So I have this free downloadable ebook on my website. And then you have like, 10 tips how to sleep better, deeper. So yeah, I really would suggest everyone to just look at what their life looks like now and read the labels on the food and also on the makeup products. But in the makeup products and everything we put on our body with all this toxic, it's like many times it's a shampoo, it's the protection or the hairstyling products, it's the makeup that has all kind of things, the body lotion, anything that you put on your skin, it just gets in like 15 seconds. So we poison ourselves without even noticing. And nowadays, with all the Botox and the fillers, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to judge. It's a choice you have, right? But I choose the natural lifestyle and I feel much better.
Was when you were in the fashion world, would you say you were aware of all of this back then, of all of the
No way.
toxins?
No
Yeah.
way. I didn't know anything. Like I said, I basically needed my 2-3 years to evolve myself to know about this. No, I also had this like plastic nails, or how to say acrylic, and then they
Mhm.
came off very easily. So my body was rejecting it. Then I tried the other type, the gel. Then the nail stylist even made a combination for me because they still fell off. And so, yeah, basically along the way, I figured out that my body just doesn't accept it. It just doesn't want it. So yeah, you become more and more receptible, but also more sensitive. Um, and learn along the way. Yeah, I learned kind of the, how to say, not the hard way really, but it is really a journey. And you hear so much, especially now with social media, the pitch black hole, it drags you in, you're scrolling
Yeah.
before you know it. And if you want to feel depressed, go scrolling 4 hours a day. It's just crazy, right?
That is very true. You just
Yeah,
fall in and it just takes you down. It sucks your
it
energy
is.
down, down, down. I really loved your car analogy of how we treat our cars better than our bodies when you go get your oil change, and you really do take care of your car because you don't want it to fail on you. And I think a lot of times people are just looking for quick fixes with their body. And so for someone who is struggling with, their body right now, and they don't feel that intuition, they don't feel tuned in, they don't feel tapped in, they feel very disconnected. What would you say to them to help, other than the food, like just like how to just how to start? I know you said you do qigong too. So do you have any like
Qigong, yes, yes.
movement tips or something that somebody could start right away?
Well, I would suggest to, if they don't want to book a scan with me, right? And want to go the easy way or to try things themselves, uh, just don't reach out on the internet. I see so many in like Instagram and Facebook asking for free advice. And oh my goodness, the free advice that you get there usually takes you even more down the drain. I really suggest you start to look at yourself as in like third person. So try to sit with yourself, have a cup of tea or coffee, and just look at your life. Like, okay, what does my relationship look like? Because many times it's the emotional stress, it's the emotional pain. What does my finances look like? Am I always struggling? What does my pattern look like? Do I exercise? And it doesn't have to be 5 times in the gym. I'm not about anything hardcore. I hate diets. I don't like 5 times in the gym. I don't like all these metal bars. So there are very easy ways, like 45 minutes every day or 5 days a week. Go out, walk your dog. Go out, walk in the park or wherever you can. Because especially I read research that in the States, they live 90% of the time indoors after
Mm.
COVID. So we are allowed to go outside, but still we are just staying indoors. And I totally get it because in my corporate, wow, that's from in the Stone Age, but in my corporate world, I remember I was in my bed, rolling into my company car, rolling behind my desk. rolling back into my company car. And by that time, it was dark again. And I left the home when it was dark. And then I was back and prepare myself for the night. And that was like the cycle. So,
Mm-hmm.
one of the very important things is the circadian rhythm, and that's also part of the sleep. So, when you go out and walk and you have the sunlight when it's like 10, 20 degrees, just like after like sunrise, it's the best way to get all this light, the infrared light, and that lifts your mood. It sets yourself up for the day. And so, if that means that you have to wake up half an hour earlier, you better do it, because the advantage that you take for not immediately grab yourself to the phone, but to start your day in a slower pace, it definitely pays off. So it can just be wandering and really breathe in life and feel that all the particulars in your lung, all the bronchi open up and they feel the appreciation for you taking care of your body. It can be wondering about a butterfly or hearing the bird sing, really switch on all those senses. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like this, wondering about the creativity and about the intelligence and the consciousness in every cell. If you, for example, realize that we are composed of trillions of cells, right? The body, your body, everyone's body is trillions of cells doing hundreds of thousands of tasks in a second, every second. It's crazy, right? So, of course, when you just go for a simple blood test, it won't do the trick. We are so much more, because then when we feel off, you go to a doctor for your gut, or you go to a cardiologist, or you go to a mindset coach, right? But we are a holistic system of everything. And we are literally, it sounds maybe spiritual, but we are literally beings of light. We are composed by photons, right? So when we have this light, that feeds us. And so we can shine better. And you might not observe, but when you do this for like, let's say 3 weeks in a row. Of course, when it's raining hard, you don't want to go out. When there's no, storm of force 10, you don't want to go out. But other than that, I mean, if I don't have time to go out, then I just walk on my treadmill, still walking. So you don't have to hardcore exercise, but it's better to be outside 45 minutes in the morning and you have a great start of the day.
Mm.
Yeah.
That you are dropping some serious wisdom on us. Thank you so much. I would like to just call out for everyone listening to this that when she said, I know I don't like the gym, I don't like the weights, there's not one way to move your body. I also don't like the gym. I don't like the weights. I don't like anything about it. And for the longest time, that was my belief, right? I don't like working out because I related working out to the gym and to heavy weights, and I did not like that. But when I realized that that was my belief and I was keeping myself in a box and I wasn't moving my body, I wasn't working out because I rejected that idea of it, I also just started simply walking every day, just walking, getting outside and walking, and it completely changed my life. I realized,
Right?
wait a second, I don't have to do all of these things to keep my body healthy. And then from there, I slowly started to incorporate other types of movement, dance, yoga, stretching, so
Here
many
we
things
go.
that I love. And then next thing you know, I'm constantly moving my body. I feel better. I feel healthier. So just really tap in to what is it that you like to do? What kind of movement can you move your body in that makes you feel joyous? And then you're going to keep doing that. So you've mentioned a couple of times about this machine you have and you also said that you have online clients. So I'm curious, first of all, what is this machine and what does it do? And is that something that people can get done or does that have to be in person?
No, so first of all, I like to remind you about a quote of Einstein. I didn't know him personally, right? But he said the future of medicine will be through frequencies. So
Mhm.
Nicholas Tesla also and crazy clever people developed a system because we all learned that everything is energy. So everything has a frequency. Even gratitude has a frequency, but basically everything we are composed of has a frequency. That also means that pathology, like illnesses, has a frequency, right? So you can just imagine that we are also kind of Wi-Fi stations. So when you have something out of balance in the body and we send the opposite frequencies, we can balance it. Because the body wants to heal itself, but sometimes it needs some intervention to start to help to recuperate and recover, right? And also to get the insight of what's actually wrong in the body. Like what I mentioned, we treat our cars better, but the difference with the car is you just keep changing the spare parts over and over. But you cannot change your heart every time, right? And to take out organs is great, but energetically, like if you have serious repressed anger on the gallbladder and the liver, you might not notice in the first place, but some people that I speak say, "Oh, I had my gallbladder taken out. You don't have to look at that." But the anger is still there, right? So, with this technology that was invented like years ago, but not so much out in the open, let's say, because it is supposed to be part of the holistic look um, at help and healing. So I basically work with people everywhere in the world. They either are diagnosed but can be serious, like cancer, or starting Parkinson, starting dementia, autism, and many times things start from the gut. And so where I actually don't know where you can non-invasive, pain-free look together with me and diagnose together with me where things are off in the body. So we scan the body energetically. So when you would be here, so my clients for the and guests for the retreat, they are here in person. But 95% of my clients are like worldwide. So we meet through Zoom, let's say, and we scan the body based upon your details. I mean, I can call you no matter which time zone you are, no matter where you are in the world, by just knowing your phone number, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when we wake up in the morning, we never question, is my phone actually working? Is the Wi Fi working? So for me, I did thousands of people by now over all these years. And so it just works. Trust me, it just works. And you will notice and you will see. But we will scan together because I don't like the white coats, hidden secret, like you get in the stress. You're waiting for the outcome. Many times you have to wait for hours or weeks, what I hear.
Mhm.
And then I treat doctors, right? So one doctor told me, but Lisa, we diagnose correctly only about 55%. And the only thing I could think of was like, but how about the other 45%? What's happening to them, right? So my machine is basically always spot on. So once we do the scan, we diagnose. You know your body much better than I do. I basically don't know anything about you. I don't know the history and etc. I don't know if somebody passed away recently. So I start to ask you questions. And then we can also treat. So in one session of 2 hours, we can scan, diagnose, and treat the body. And you will feel it might not be on the spot, but you might sleep better, you might feel the change. And so when people are serious, don't get me wrong, when there are serious conditions, I might have to treat like 6 times. So I offer people a package. Then we have like before and after. So I make reports of what's good for you to eat, what's not great for your body, what's toxic to your body, and everything in that moment of time. So, of course, everyone evolves. My body is way different from like 5 years ago, and I can
Mhm.
see it on my pictures, right? So, people say, "You look so young." And I'm like, but I'm getting older day by day, right? I'm 59 now. So, I'm like, okay, next year is the big 60. But anyway, yeah, so that's how I help people. Usually, women that feel off and menopausal issues start to play a role, and they feel like, I am the one going to the gym. I'm doing all these things. I eat great, and still I feel off. Still, I have this crush after lunch. Still, I feel there's something wrong. So then we quickly check the thyroid. I detox energetically, thyroid, liver, um, check the blood, check the pancreas, and then we like top them up, and they start to feel great again. So Yeah, I'm super excited. And we are in a group of about 600 people across the globe. But the fact that I had an official training and I study quantum biology really enables me also with the healing part from Qigong. Yeah, my clients say you have like this X factor. It's what they say, right? So, and that's why they just feel great. Yeah. So
I love that. I love the way that the world is evolving and people are realizing that how can I just believe in the Wi-Fi that's all around me and my computer works and my phone work and I don't think that I am also made of frequency. So I think this is a beautiful way that just our society in general is starting to be more open to these healings that have honestly been around for a very long time. Anyways, so you mentioned that, for example, if you're having gallbladder problems, that could be stored anger. So, for these emotions that are stored in our body, do you have any advice for people to do certain modalities to move this energy through the body and release maybe stored anger?
yeah, well, breath work is always great. Breath work is great. And Qigong is great, or slow movement yoga or exercise. But we tend to make things too big, right? And many times, because we don't know, we just imagine and make from a mosquito an elephant, as we say here. So, also on the contrary, many people just don't feel their emotions.
Mm,
Like, yeah, they don't sense it, that there's all this repressed anger. And when I confront them with it, they're like, oh, now I know it kicks in. And because I treat the gallbladder literally with frequencies where the emotions are stored, then of course it also starts to resolve. So they might not feel that much hatred as before. And so I was recently treating a Brazilian lady in Ireland from her hospital bed. She had taken out the gallbladder. That's why it's on top of my mind. So she had the gallbladder taken out and it started leaking. So she had to go in emergency. And we had rescheduled the appointment. So she didn't want to stop it. And so she was still in hospital bed. And she said, sorry, I'm here, not even private in my hospital bed. So I basically didn't know. And she is psychologist, sorry, psychologist specifically for youth. And so I said, wow, it seems that you have so much anger still in the body. And she said, no. I said, well, is there someone, how about your relationships with your parents, with your colleagues? Oh, and then she started. So it was like a rant of like bad relationship with her mom, serious bad relationship with her sister, who was always jealous because she couldn't get the grades in school, bad relationship with her brother. So basically, the coin dropped. I could literally see it, that the coin dropped. Oh my goodness, I always thought I don't have it, but it's a cultural thing also, right? Because
mm-hmm.
boys don't cry and girls don't get upset. But does it mean we don't have it? Of course we have. So when in my retreat center people come here and I see that, because I start off with a scan, then I send them to the boxing school to kick it out, get out the anger, and then they feel so much better. But also after a scan. So after we did the treatment, I always check in with people like, how are you doing now? And I could hear from her voice there was so much more love and understanding about her mom, who was in a very difficult position when she was actually pregnant of her. But we inherited, when we're born, we are born with the nervous system of our mom. So when this mom is stressed when she's pregnant, guess what? You're already born with that. But to feel this anger when you are adult, come on, give me a break,
Yeah.
right? And so about emotions, I speak a lot of people, like she's a professional herself, right? I treat more professionals. We all have like this black gap, this blind spot, let's say, that we can't see. So that's why also professionals in healthcare, many times they don't see. They can perfectly arrange it for other people, but their own blind spot is really difficult for them to see. So I'm kind of direct and blunt because I'm Dutch, I would say. It's false excuse. But I confront them because I don't know anything and I'm not emotionally tied to them. And
Mhm.
that really, usually works for them because they have this understanding. And once I can explain and see them understand, and sometimes, don't get me wrong, sometimes they were working with like life coaches for like 2 years. I always say, if you have to work with a life coach 2 year or not, sorry to say, fire them. It doesn't have to take that long. I mean, if you're totally off, I get it. But usually in 6 sessions, you should be good to go. And then
Mhm.
sometimes people top up, let's say, every 3 months when they feel insecure. But many times, also, not just for emotions, but also physical issues. I mean, people come in here with, I was a drug addict, I was alcohol addict, I have Parkinson, I have autoimmune disease. But throughout the session, I say, now the only thing you have to do is take off the sticker. And also, frankly speaking, last thing about this is diagnosis that they get from doctors. I had a woman flying in from Germany and she had chemo sessions 2 times, and third time she didn't want to have another round of chemo sessions, and so she came to me and I said, I treated her like 5 days in a row and I said, the cancer's gone. You can see it because you can see what I see. Believe in yourself and remove that sticker from your chest, right? And so instead of saying bye-bye to her, it was a Thai woman, instead of saying bye-bye to all her family that she actually did before she came here 5 days, she said, oh, I feel so grateful now. I will come back every half year to say hello again to my friends and family. So, I mean, like, it's the perception also how you look at your body. So we can kind of keep ourselves sick and we can
Mhm.
also help the body to heal itself. And that's part of like the body, mind, and soul, as you wish.
That was wonderful. Thank you for taking us on that journey. So, a couple of things came up. One, a book popped into my head. If anybody's curious about this, a great place to start is Louise Hay's book, Heal Your Body. And it
Yeah.
actually goes into the different organs in your body and what emotions are tied to that if you're having problems. So, if you are curious, that's one way you can step in. If you're really, really into it and you want to dive deep, there's another book called The Biology of Belief. And I believe that one's by Bruce Lipton.
Mm,
And that one goes really, really, really deep into the science
yes.
of belief
Yes.
in your body. And speaking about belief in your body, you made a great point about identifying yourself as the disease. And it might not only be the disease, it could be any area in your life where you're like, well, I just am this way, so I can't lose weight. Or I have this, I'm going to get this because my father had diabetes. Like you're creating this box yet again that you're identifying in, and all you can see is that. And a lot of times when that happens, you can't see any way out of that. So for somebody who is deeply identified with whether it be a disease or just anything about themselves, what advice would you give them to help them release that?
Yeah, it's the insight, and the biggest thing is fear. Being fearful of everything is a very low frequency, let's say, and it's kind of manifesting, and the energy will pull more. So if you believe everything's negative, and don't get me wrong, I was from a family that the glass was always half empty, so I transform myself. And so I always say, like, if I can do it, everyone can do it. That's a bit nagging, right? I don't really want to say it like this and point out like this, but you always have a choice to wake up your day and to say to yourself, oh, uh, all the kind of negative things, right? Or you high five yourself as like Mel Robbins and you say, hey, everything's not perfect, but at least I'm getting there. And that's why I like to do the wheel of life and really zooming out from your world and think like, okay, this is already great. This is an 8. But in terms of health, I want to go from 5 to 8 and then take small steps. So it's not taking the ladder from 1 to the 10th floor and like in one go, but you take consistent steps. So it's about acknowledging yourself where you are at that point, and always feel like, I mean, I like the analogy of a tree. How different are we from a tree? So a tree never says on Monday morning, well, really, I'm not sure. I want to da 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 da. It always grows. Nature always wants to grow, right? So it's perfectly fine if you are a millionaire already and you want to be multimillionaire. If you are not feeling healthy, of course you want to feel healthy. If you don't have something in life that you really, really want, you want something in life, and it's good. It's not bad. So we tend to keep ourselves low. We tend to manifest kind of the things that are not great. And so, what you emphasize on, everything that you give energy attracts energy. So, you can make problems bigger, or you can say, where's the problem? I don't
Hmm.
even like the word problem. Yeah,
Yeah. It's this human journey, what a fun ride. But I will say, the most fun about it is expanding, finding a new desire, expanding to achieve that desire, finding a new one. Like, I feel like that's the whole point, is to grow, learn, expand, try new things, recreate your life. Why not?
exactly. I'm totally on the same page, because I have friends who say, oh, why are you studying something again? Why you are still at your age doing something different? But I feel that's the fun of life. We can recreate and reinvent ourselves every day, right? And
Every
I
day.
love to learn every day. It's kind of my middle name. And so, yeah, I think that's the good thing. There is no box, as you said. I'm like, hell no, where's the box, Of course, but you set the boundaries for yourself. You set the framework for yourself. I mean, I really can't understand that people keep dragging themselves to the office if they really, really hate it.
Hmm.
Why would you waste your life hating doing something that you really, really hate, right? I couldn't. I mean, if it's fine, but then just don't complain. Just go on with your life and try something. I mean, it can even be growing herbs from your kitchen or in the garden to make you feel the awe of life, right?
Hmm.
If you don't want to take big steps, or for you it can be challenging to take a big step, start small. But everyone can find, I mean, one more example. I had a client and she was sent after a year in and out hospitals. The specialist had said, oh, madam, you're 75, you have autoimmune disease, and you have to live with it. I can't do anything about it. So she started trajectory with me and she loved it. After one time, she said, wow, I want to feel like this forever. She went shopping for 4 hours and whatnot. And so I sent her the workbook that comes with the trajectory. And she almost had tears in her eyes the third time that we met. She said, well, this part was really confronting. It was about family life, which was not great for her, and about her future. She said, at my age, I don't have extra income. What can I still do? I don't know. And I didn't know what to reply even. 2 days later, she checked in with me through WhatsApp and she said, I did find something. I'm not going to stay in my depressing apartment. Um, in the big city. I'm going to stay in a southern country in Europe because it's even cheaper to live there. I can rent out my place, and so I did find something positive. And by now, she not only has a boat where she lives on in the summer, she also bought a camper van to go and get out in wintertime. I mean, 75 years. If that's not a great example, right? And she doesn't feel the pain that she had. It was mainly emotional pain of feeling stuck in her own body and in her own life. So we resolved it. And then finally, she had the mind space to see her future. So, how great is that, right?
I'm so glad you brought that story here because it just really goes to prove that it really is never too late. If you are still here on this planet, alive at this time, you really can decide at any time to recreate your life and just do it and realize. I think the first step is realizing what boxes have you put yourself in.
Exactly.
Well, this has been absolutely incredible. I am so grateful that we met and that you said yes to sharing your story with us. I would love for you to just leave the listeners with, how they can find you. I'll put all of your links down in the show notes below, and any last message you have for everyone listening.
Well, it actually rounds up everything, right? So my mission is for women to stop the struggling and to start thriving, especially the second half of their life. Because, oh my goodness, all the women that I see in my place, I mean, like many times they're entrepreneurs because I organize retreats for entrepreneurs, entrepreneurial women. So you don't have to be like a 6-7 figure business per se. It can be like you can even be a yoga teacher or podcast master. And so, but anyway, really to co-create and to feel your passion, let's say, and yeah, stop the struggles and start to live your best life. That's actually what I'm all about. Stop the struggling, no matter it's physical, emotional, the boundaries, everything stuck, and to get in the flow. But flow is kind of trendy word, but living your best life, no matter what it is for you, right? I mean, you don't have to live on a tropical island. Please don't all come living here, right? But you can do it. But I just want to show you how to do it and take the small steps. And then from that, might be inspired to take the bold decision because, we have to. Yeah, I feel we have to. It's my mission. I have to, at least. Nobody has to do anything, but I feel I have to serve the world because my life was great in the corporate world. It was great in like all this 80 hours, years. And so, but now I feel it's my time to serve and deliver. And because I served myself first. And that's our biggest pitfall. Yeah. So you can find me, lisavanroode.com, lansabai.com. I always keep things very simple. And so everywhere my name, Instagram, Lisa Van Roode, and Facebook, Lisa Van Roode or Lan Sabai. So very simple. And Lan Sabai stands for the comforting courtyard. So I built my place totally secluded in an environment where people can feel safe. So I also have a lot of women from Middle East even, and they sometimes have to like cover up, but here they all wear sexy bikinis because we only have like female practitioners, no men around, and they feel totally safe and secluded and comforted. So yeah, that's enough, I think, right?
I love that. Thank you so much. And thank you. Truly, you really shared so much wisdom with us. It was a wonderful experience. And for the listeners, I hope you really got some wonderful wisdom out of this. And if there's one thing you can do today, just start identifying where in your life are you keeping yourself stuck? What boxes have you created for yourself? And through all of these stories, it is possible at any time to break out of those boxes. I mean, Lisa's client at 75, she went and got a boat and a camper van. Like, that's incredible. You can do this too. There is no reason that you cannot also recreate your life. So thank you so much.